and I'll do the introduction. It's counting down now. So, Danny, we are live.
That's great.
At least on Facebook anyway, on Peoria Live. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday morning. It's a little icy out there, so hopefully you made it to work safely, or hopefully maybe you're even at home watching from the warmth and comfort of your home. That's awesome. I'm Kim Martin, host of Healthy You. I am so excited to have my guest with me today, Mr. Danny Schroeder.
It's awesome to be here.
Thanks, Danny. So glad to have you. I've been looking forward to this. You're a physical therapist here in Peoria.
I am, yep. I went to Bradley University for my DPT, Doctorate of Physical Therapy. Went to U of I for my bachelor's. So kinesiology is my background, so human movement and analysis of that, and really just kind of excited to talk a little bit about physical therapy and exercise and just kind of the human body and how, I look at it versus how maybe somebody else looks at it, and maybe give you some tips and hopefully take a little something away from today.
The truth about how things work. That's what I love. That's what I like diving into. What's the reality of what's happening today? We lost our ticker. It's not ticking down. Hopefully we are still live. They'll let us know in case we're not. But one of the things that we want to ask you to do for our Healthy You podcast this morning is to show us you're watching by giving us some likes and some love and giving us some comments. Ask questions. We can't answer them right now live, but we can come back, and Danny can come back to the podcast and answer any questions that you have. So comment and share. If you know someone who has been thinking about physical therapy, or maybe you know someone who you think should look into physical therapy, or maybe you're doing physical therapy yourself, and you want to understand if it's the right thing for you or get a little second opinion, this is a perfect podcast for you. This is a perfect opportunity for you to learn what physical therapists think you should know. So that's kind of the secrets of physical therapy. All right, so let's just dive right in, Danny, and talk about give us a little bit about your background. How did you get into physical therapy? What is it about physical therapy that was attractive to you?
Right. Well, for those who know me, I am a former athlete, so played a lot of sports growing up. Basketball, baseball, you name it. I've been injured doing it. So, having gotten to know some of the physical therapists and some of the doctors in the Peoria area, in my hometown here, I thought, wow, this is great. Physical therapy, I don't know a lot about this, but the more that I do it, the more that I seem to kind of like the way that it works and the way that the process goes. So, I had decided while I was at University of Illinois playing baseball, I had some more injuries, and then actually something interesting that happened was an old friend of mine, an old junior high teammate of mine from Concordia Lutheran. You got Sean living.
Sean Livingston.
Yep. Everybody knows Sean, but everybody knows Concordia. Everybody knows Sean. But
after this podcast, Danny, everybody's gonna know you.
That's right. So, but it's interesting. Everybody remembers his horrible injury, and that was right in sync with the time that I actually was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and what profession I was going to have in the health industry. And so, having some of my issues of my own, watching issues like that taking place, it's pretty motivational to continue forward and say, hey, I want to do something like that for a living. So,
so that passion drove you to that. That's what I love. I love hearing about the passion, and I knew when you and I first started talking and emailing that you had a real passion for this, so this is exciting. So that's awesome. All right, so now you find yourself over at ATI. This is a new location.
Correct.
That just opened on War Memorial in Peoria.
Correct, yep.
And so how did that come about? You said you used to work for them a long time ago.
I did. Actually, ATI is a great company. They're a large company, but one that's very, very effective if it's something that you're looking for as far as results. If you want to go to a place where you can really get the whole team, all hands on deck, and give you the extra effort, that's really what they do. So as a professional, I have my goals. I want to go out and learn new things and grow as a marketer and grow as a business person. So got an opportunity recently to be with a company that dealt with physical therapy and weight loss.
Yeah.
So that was something that you don't see a lot in physical therapy, but obviously a major issue that's getting worse and worse and worse. So something that I enjoy doing. I had a lot of success with in a couple different areas, but ultimately ATI just said, hey, we know who you are. We want to have a clinic in Peoria. my wife, she actually works for ATI as well, and they said, let's get the family together, let's get the clinic going here, and let's grow and let's help Peoria in the process.
That's awesome because your wife is a physical therapist too.
She is.
So you guys are just a family of physical therapy.
She is an athletic trainer, so essentially the things I do as a physical therapist, she also does some of those things. In addition, she will go out and work with teams in the high school. She'll go out and work with injured workers, work hardening programs and work conditioning programs. So just one of many things that we can do, but it's obviously a little unique situation working with your wife, but we love it.
That's awesome. So if someone comes in the office over on War Memorial at ATI, they're going to see you.
They're going to see me.
And that's good to know.
That's right. Yeah. We try to, make sure that people understand that, when you come and see Danny as a physical therapist, that you're going to see Danny. As much as we can make that happen, we want you to be personal with us. It doesn't matter whether it's physical therapy, whether it's, a new dietitian, nutritionist, whether you're, going to the doctor. If you feel like someone's really there to see you and listen to you and take it all in and there to help you alone, I think that really makes a difference.
That does. Okay, well, let's dive right in.
Yeah.
And talk about physical therapy and what it looks like. Because before the show started recording, one of the things that you put in what you want people to know about physical therapy, and it really triggered in me, was it doesn't take a lot of weight to make a difference. Because I think people think there's this magic exercise out there that's just going to magically work better than one exercise. And based on my 25 years of experience in working in exercise kinesiology, exercise is exercise for the most part.
You're absolutely right. It's tough, but even in being a former athlete myself, I've got used to have more of that mindset of I got to push it. Just like someone who they say I feel like I've got energy. I better push it. I better tire myself out.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest mistakes that I actually see with some of my patients is maybe they are capable of doing some heavier exercises, or maybe they are capable of doing some tough exercises, but maybe they just need a little more instruction. So too heavy is a big problem I see. Really poor body mechanics is a very common one. Necks and backs.
Hunched over.
Oh, yeah.
Because the thing is if you might be able to push a 100-pound ball, but if you can't do it in the right form, because form before weight, right?
Absolutely. I think about it kind of like snow shoveling. I mean, it's the exact same concept. Is you're really repeating. If you do that too much, time after time after time in the wrong way, you're going to be suffering. You're going to be hurting as a result. So I kind of compare it a little bit to when we're looking at a new patient, and I say, "What have you been doing?" Well, I've been walking, or I've been lifting some weights. Incorporate everything. It's not a bad thing to do a little bit of aerobic, to do a little bit of resistance, to do a little bit of balance training, which we'll get to a little bit later. But I think that's a mistake people make is they have a program, they want to stick to their one program, and they want to keep bringing more weight, heavier weight, and just keep pushing it. And sometimes it's okay just to kind of take a step back and listen to your body a little bit. And that's something we try to do right off the bat is try to help somebody discover, where am I different? What can I do differently to get the most out of my workout?
What do you like?
Yeah, what do you like? Goal setting.
And
exactly.
Like I said, I'm like, when I tell the ladies at Curves, don't come to Curves because you think we have the magic potion.
Right.
Come to Curves because you like us. Come to Curves because it's fun.
Yeah.
Come to Curves because it keeps you coming back. Go wherever you go to work out because you like it and it's fun and you keep going back. You have to find a place that you like, that you can connect with.
That's exactly right.
And I know as a physical therapist, you guys help people exercise, and especially when they're recovering from an injury.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about injuries.
Sure.
And what happens if someone tries to, where you're kind of like that middleman, right? Where someone's been injured, they go to the doctor. Before you can head back out to your normal routine, you really probably should come through a physical therapist.
Yeah,
right?
So exactly. So what I'm going to typically see if I have an injured patient, we even have the option where they can actually come and see me and get a free screen. If they want to first wait, if they say, I think this is maybe a minor injury, but maybe if Danny thinks that I should go ahead and go see the doctor, I'll go ahead and send them on their way and give them some tips. But if they come and see me and they say, I just need little injury screen, as we would say. Maybe I can give them one or two things to try at home. And, a lot of times, like you said, it's individualized. It's for everyone. They're going to get something different out of it. So, a lot of times when we see someone with that initial injury or that initial issue, the important thing is to kind of identify posture. So that's one thing that I always key on is posture. So
makes me want to sit up
that's
straight.
right. That's right. We're both sitting up straight and sitting back.
I say form, but posture, form, how you're
Body mechanics, absolutely. So I'm going to see someone slouch, they're guarded, maybe one-sided, they're trying to hold themselves, they're limping. So we just got to remember that postures can produce pain, bad postures. So we have to remember, likewise, that maybe, as we're looking at our pain, improving our posture and correcting our posture, that should respond to that musculoskeletally. So that's usually something where we can give a quick fix, give a tip, and then certainly if they need to go and see their doctor, that's where we get the PT referral, and we go right into it. We get our evaluation and our treatment, and the rest is history.
Well, let's talk about limping, because I cannot tell you, and maybe you're watching and maybe you have a limp, so this might pertain to you. When I see someone limping, it makes me just kind of cringe for them, because it's that old song, the leg bone's connected to the hip bone,
there you
right?
go.
So if you are limping, you are causing even more trouble. Now, sometimes we have to limp. I get that if you have an injury. However, the goal is to try not to, right? Because
Absolutely.
When you're limping, if you're walking with a limp every day, explain to us, give us an idea of what happens.
And this kind of relates to another point that I have, which is related to shoe wear. But what we think about with shoe wear and with any weight bearing of the feet, anytime you're taking an unnatural step, as you said, it's all connected. So think about the way you strike your foot. If you're not striking your foot correctly, you're going to land, and that's going to jolt through your foot, your ankle, your knee, hip, even back, everything.
All the way up.
And so if you see someone outside, you see those people out in the cold, and they're shuffling around and limping around. Over time, think about that's micro trauma. So that adds up, and it adds up, and eventually gives way. So it's
and then you're in pain.
It's not uncommon to see that too. We either deal usually with micro trauma, the small repetitive things, or macro trauma, which is the big injury. Maybe then a surgery is required or something like that. But the problem is that with our shoes, a lot of times you don't have the proper arch support. A lot of times we aren't standing with the proper posture. So one thing the research shows is that even though shock absorbing insoles, even some of the taping techniques that I do with patients, they can help with pain, but really when it comes to arthritis or actual development of things like that, it's not going to prevent that. So that just makes it even more important to know that even though you have these pads, these shoes, these great things, you're avoiding your high heels, you're avoiding your flip-flops, it can still happen. I mean, you can still have postures and things that affect you that way. So it's always important every time you're doing an activity to think, how can I support myself in doing this? And how can I do this in the appropriate fashion too?
And what is the best way? Because, flip-flops. So let's just talk about flip-flops for a second.
Yep.
I'm a Southern girl.
Yep.
I love the beach. I love my flip-flops.
That's right.
But you know what? Every time I wear flip-flops, my ankles hurt.
That's right.
I get pain. It drives me nuts.
You just can't really underestimate how important it is to just support your body. So for a lot of people, they're a little bit more predisposed to foot injuries, and I myself am a little bit that way too. So, I got to the point with my flip-flops and just said, I can't do it. Maybe once in a while, but your plantar fasciitis and
Hopefully the flip-flop makers aren't watching us. They might get mad at us, but flip-flops have a purpose. Maybe getting in the shower at a gym where you're taking a communal shower. I mean, a shower where bunches of people go through is what I mean. Not necessarily all at one time, but you're in a shower where a bunch of people come through, and you want to wear flip-flops to kind of protect your feet and things like that, or walking across to a pool.
There you go. Small, short distances.
But not meant for you to walk across Disney World.
That's right.
In flip-flops, because you will be in pain. So shoes.
That's right. And sorry, ladies, but the heels, unfortunately, too, that is a major issue. So that's something that...
That's not a calf workout?
Yeah.
Wait a minute now.
You know what? I compare it to like a ballerina almost.
I get my good calf workout when I'm walking in heels.
You could get a little bit of a calf workout there, but I bet you'll be seeing me later on if you did too much of a calf workout.
I'll be a new patient because of that, right? And then also flat. What about like excruciatingly flat shoes with no support?
I'll see usually where patients will either have a high arch, a much higher arch, or a much lower arch, and collapsing arch a little bit. So you're going to get kind of one or the other. With flats, though, it's going to tend to be the same deal as with your flip-flops, where if you're still putting more stress on your arch, if you're still putting more stress in weight bearing, it's going to suffer as a result. Now, that may not be an ankle foot issue. It may be a knee issue. Like I said, it may be a back issue. I can't even tell you how many patients I see that come in with bad ankles or bad knees, and they're saying, oh, my back hurts the worst. I have such a bad back. So it just really adds up over time. As we age and as we do more activities, if we're trying to stay active, start listening to your body. That's a big key there, is listen to your body.
Well, and then that's a good point that you just said. As we age, we're living in the now, which is not a bad thing. We want to be present. But on the same token, we have to think about what we're doing today. What is that going to do tomorrow? Because eventually you are going to get older. You know, the heels, you might be in your 20s now and you're wearing these high heels and you're walking around and you're not feeling any pain from that yet.
That's right.
Right? But it will come. So we have to really think about what we're doing today. And before we get off the shoe subject onto the balance, because balance is important, we want to talk about that. I just want to give a little shout out to Running Central because we have a great collaboration and partnership with them. They help us with our My First 5K, which is a running program designed for beginners. And when I got my first pair of shoes from Running Central, I've been running for probably almost 13 years, and I ran for about 3 years in the wrong shoe. I got blisters. I had knee pain. I thought I was thinking I can't run. And I walked into Running Central for the first time many years ago, but I had been running for 3 years, and Adam was like, "You're wearing the wrong shoe." Yeah. He put me in a shoe that I still wear today, never had a blister, 5 marathons, not a blister, not anything, no problem. And the only thing that happens is as soon as my knee starts hurting, it's time for a new pair of shoes.
Yeah, that's right.
I can tell. It's like, okay, got to go get some new shoes because now I feel a little pain in my knee.
That's
so if you're running, thinking about running, walking outside a lot, get a good pair of shoes. And there are differences.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And they're going to, you're right about at Running Central, that's a name that, a lot of people know around here, but it's kind of like with physical therapy. You get that one-on-one kind of personalized service. You're getting what you need, and you're actually getting it meant for you alone. So you're not getting run through the mill. You're not getting something that is the same with everyone else, too. So that's what's important.
It is. So shoes are important. Good point there, Danny. All right, so let's talk about balance because we work on balance a lot, and balance is a key workout. You should have a balanced workout. No matter how young you are, fit you think you are.
That's right.
Balance is the first thing to go, I think, as we age. So,
combining balance, you're talking about losing power and strength in your extremities and your spine, your steady ability, your reactive ability. So balance is kind of a multi-component sort of measurement. But, what happens is as we age, everyone knows about the dreaded hip fracture and how as we get to a certain age, it's tough to recover from that. It really can be, they call it a death sentence, but that's just kind of a mean way to put it. But, what we see in general is after we get over the age of 75, that's where even if we haven't had a fall, the healthcare costs compared to someone, closer to our age, 5 to 6 times more. So, just that alone, without falls and without other things that we take into account, balance just becomes so very important. So, age-related disability doesn't have to be disability. It can be age-related declines, but it doesn't have to be disability.
Right. No, we want to age well. And, I have my mom get up, get down. So I call it I don't know if this is a good way to put it, but I call it your get up and get down muscles.
I like that. And
when I mean get up and get down, I don't mean like boogie dancing. I mean like literally get down on the floor and get back up.
Yeah.
Because don't you think that's one of the, as we age, and that's what I see at Curves with a lot of ladies, we can't get down on the floor and we can't get back up.
That's one of the biggest tests that we have, not necessarily the only, but one of the biggest tests that we can use to show how mobile someone is can they get down on the floor and can they get back up. If they can't, that's usually a pretty good sign that we can do something to help them. And, it's hard to believe, but there's stats out there, fall prevention programs, so strengthening, balance and other things incorporated. Not only do they reduce fall rates according to the research in an independent elderly population or an aging population, they're also going to prevent injuries from the fall. So if you do fall, you're not going to get injured as frequently, and your injuries aren't going to be as severe. So just that alone, not going to fall as much, not going to get injured as much. That should tell you right there. You have to incorporate your balance. And, there's a lot of fancy, complicated ways we can do that, but, it starts with just getting up on your feet and moving, and that's square one. So
getting up and get down.
That's
get
right.
Up, get
that's
up,
right.
get down.
That's right.
Don't try that alone if you're struggling, but it's a good thing. And so we don't start thinking about at 50 years old, when you can still get up and get down. You just gradually stop doing it.
That's right.
And then next thing you know, you're 70 and you're like, my mom's going, Kim, help me up. And I'm like, Mom, you better start getting up and get down, right? Because she's pretty healthy 70-year-old. So that's what happens. So it's at 50 when you can still get up, get down, that you should start making that a part of your exercise program. You should start at home when you're 50, 10 times a day, get up, get down, get up, get down, and then keep doing that. And then when you're 70, you'll be able to get up and get down, right?
The way that I look at it, it compares a lot to some of the, you see these amazing, 80, 90-year-old track athletes.
I know,
they're
it's
sprinting,
crazy.
they're shot putting, high jumps. If you can continue to do that, you can do anything. I mean, really, if you keep using those muscles, you keep using your balance, you can keep it for a long, long time. And I think that's where we're headed.
Yes, you will keep going, and we will age gracefully. We cannot stop aging. It's going to happen. We're going to get older. We can't stop it, but we can certainly do it well. That's what I like to think. We can do it well. Okay, now this is important because, oh my goodness, I hear so many times, well, Dr. Phil said, and Dr. Oz said, and, you know, I don't want to downplay who they are and what they know and their knowledge. I don't know all that, but sometimes I think we have to remember that, you know, when we hear and see things on TV, people are trying to sell things and people are trying to earn a kickback from that. And, and so there might be marketing something that they may not 100% necessarily use even or believe, but they're maybe getting some dollars from that. So you have to be careful.
It is a little interesting. I can't really say that there's, you know, there certainly are things that are good that we see on, you know, the doctors and all the Dr. Drews and all those, but you know, it's just, you get something we have to be careful of. There's so much advice coming in between the internet and TV, it's almost too much. So that if you've got different comorbidities, you know, cardiovascular issues and other things, if you've got allergies, even undiagnosed issues, something we don't even think about, you know, even the medications that we're on. I mean, it's all these things that come into play. It's just really important that you have a medical professional too that's in your area, in this Peoria local area.
That you can go see.
That's right.
In person.
So we don't like to discriminate. We like all different doctors around here.
But I discriminate. Stay local.
But no, certainly.
I want us to keep. We live here in this community. We have amazing doctors. We have amazing professionals right here where we are. Okay. This one was interesting. Recovery from an injury or surgery is rarely timely or linear.
I get so many patients who are just very tentative and very scared and fearful of what's to come. You know, they don't understand. Maybe there's someone who hasn't had a lot of previous issues of that sort. So sometimes we just have to sit down and talk about it a little bit, and we have to say, hey, you know what? They took some equipment or they cut into your body. I mean, that's a big deal.
They cut through your muscle tissue.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's not something small. I mean, you see these athletes on TV and they get, you know, a ACL or a knee, you know, and then all of a sudden it's 6 months later they're back on the field. And you're like, hey, I better be able to do that. Well, we got to pump the brakes sometimes with our patients and say, hey, sometimes fast results aren't necessarily, you know, what we want. Sometimes we want slow, prolonged results. I get surgeons all the time who don't want us to do a lot of things early on in our rehab. They want to give healing time and recovery time. So, you know, there's a graph that I like to use, and just to kind of summarize the graph, you're going to have relapses. So, you know, you're doing better, you're going to have a relapse once in a while. Now, it's a matter of not having multiple relapses and continuing to go through that kind of valley. It's about getting back up to those peaks, and then we get to retrain. We get to retrain the body, again, with our postures and some of the ways that we move, our body mechanics, and then retraining our muscles.
Right.
If we can get to that point, then we can start to worry about, you know, the real big things, you know, really pushing and really being aggressive with what we want to do in our daily activities. But it's just tough. You know, when someone is injured, it's just it's not a natural state to be in. So
what do you find that when someone's injured, okay, usually people don't change unless there's physical, emotional, or financial pain. That's just that's the way it goes. We're all like that.
Sure.
So what happens, I think, is let's think about that athlete that you were just describing that heals and they're back on the field in 6 months. Well, let's think about the condition they were in prior to the injury. But what happens in the general population is most of us aren't as healthy as that athlete who's been on the field because they work out every day. They have personal trainers. You know, they're going at it every day. So, of course, they're going to heal a lot faster. When a person gets injured, when an average person gets injured, now they have pain.
Oh my goodness,
and so now they're like, I have to exercise. I have to work out. I got to get rid of this pain. But what they forgot is they weren't exercising before.
That's right.
And so you can't just jump into something now that you've injured yourself and you have this pain. You have to do what you're accustomed to and again, just gradually. I think that's the
You make a good point there. I can make a good example of a hip replacement or knee replacement along those lines, too. You see someone who's been very active in exercise, they're going to recover a lot faster and they're going to do a lot more. They might be in pain, but they're going to have a faster kind of return to those daily activities. Someone who hasn't been as strong or been as active, of course, can have a little tougher time, which kind of brings me into one other area I wanted to hit, which is about strength gain and strength loss. So this is interesting because what we talk about is, you know, we can gain strength, but it takes a while now, but we stop exercising, when we stop being active, 3 times as fast is typically how fast that we lose that strength. So, I mean, it just, for an example, a month. A month is a good threshold for someone. Let's say you've been working out for a year, and after a month, that's going to be the threshold. We start to lose our abilities. We start to lose, muscle capillaries. We start to lose endurance and what we call our VO2, if you've heard that before. Our fast twitch muscle fibers, our flexibility, even our ability to burn fat. From there, the longer that you go, it gets worse and worse.
Fast.
Our heart, our oxygen supply to the muscles, our hormones, just everything. So if it takes you, let's say, a year to build up that great, strength and endurance and capacity, maybe it takes 3 months to lose it.
Oh, wow.
So just think about that. If you're not doing well, if you're having a tough time, don't wait. Come and see me and get, see your doctor and ask for advice. And, physically, we can really get you back into shape.
Yeah, and be consistent.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's, because let's talk a little bit about homeostasis. Mm-hmm. I talk about this a lot, and I think homeostasis is an underused term because I think it's huge in how our body responds to what we're doing. And I think one of the things that we run into is people, they'll go gung-ho, and then they're going, I don't want to do it anymore. Right? We got from one extreme to the other versus just consistently, just kind of keep going consistently. Help us understand that.
I can't even underestimate, how important that is, not just in, physical exercise, in nutrition, in psychological motivation. I mean, you name the area. Having been with a company previously who worked with weight loss and with obese patients, it's just something that you identify right away, which is you're never going to get anywhere if you're always going fast, and then having to backtrack. We're pushing, and then we got to take it back and take a load off. If you can just set a goal for yourself every day, hit that goal. If you set a goal for yourself, maybe for the week, I'm going to do this. I did it today, I'm going to do it 4 more times this week. That's how we have to start with our patients. And that's how we as individuals have to start just in our daily lives too. We're not going to accomplish everything we need to do for this year today. So we just have to say, what am I going to do today? After we complete the day, it's a successful day. And that's where we have to go from there. It's no different with anything that we do. We set a goal, we hit the goal, we set another goal, we go for that goal. So that's just something that...
Be consistent.
Yeah, being consistent. Set your goals and achieve your goals. That's what it all comes down to.
Your body likes consistency. It doesn't work well when you're too extreme and then off. You just have to be consistent. If, a good place to start is 10,000 steps a day.
I love it.
I mean, if you're not doing anything right now, get a pedometer,
I love it.
a watch, your phone, whatever, and start measuring and start with 10,000 steps a day in a good pair of shoes.
I tell you what, if you can get to
not on ice.
That's right. If you can get to 10,000 steps, I'll scare you a little bit out there, which is now the research is showing that if you really want to get to a point where you're completely avoiding those cardiovascular issues and you're really out of those risk factors, 15,000 steps is now a goal to have.
Well,
so if you want to set a goal for yourself,
runner, I guess.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Although I will tell you that in the winter, it's very difficult, right? So I've been slack.
I have too.
And what you say, Danny, is so absolutely true. Is that in a matter of 2 weeks, I can go from being able to go out and hit 10 miles on a Saturday, and then in 2 weeks, if I've only ran a couple of times because the ice, the weather, the rain, the cold, we do try to run in the cold, but still, rain and ice.
Yeah.
I go out and 5 miles is hard.
Oh, yeah.
And just 2 weeks ago, we were running 10.
That's right.
It's amazing how quick you lose
Getting that winter hibernation, and it feels good and it feels warm, and then now it's getting to that point of year where you're going to get out there and people are going to start to move a little bit more. They're going to they're either going to slip on the ice or they're going to pull a muscle or do something like that. So keep an eye on your body as you get into the warm weather months here. This is usually the time where I start to see people coming from all over the place and saying, "Oof, I did hurt my arm playing ball with the kids or shoveling."
We haven't done anything, and the next thing you know, we're out raking or we're out gardening, and you've come out of a winter of doing nothing, and now you're out gardening, and you're wondering why you can't move your arm.
That's right.
So, okay, really quick, we just got a little bit of time left in this last minute.
No problem.
Now, generally, it used to be that you needed to have a referral from a doctor to come to your physical therapist. Does it still kind of stand that way,
Absolutely.
or can they just walk into the office and talk to you? How does that work?
Yeah, essentially in the state of Illinois, we do want a referral from the doctor. So it doesn't matter. It could be your primary care doctor, your orthopedic doctor, anyone that you talk to. But the one thing I can offer, as I mentioned earlier, is if we don't have a referral right away. Let's say you're waiting to go and see the doctor. We do injury screens. So an injury screen is just a musculoskeletal exam, 10 to 15 minutes. Someone comes off the street, they ask me questions, they tell me their situation, and I'll say, all right, let's take a quick look, measure and evaluate real quickly. I usually will give them maybe 1, 2 to 3 exercises or stretches to work on. A lot of times, believe it or not, with the human body, if we can find those kind of exercises, just the real key, couple exercises, it can really make a difference and really prevent things from happening. So if that's something that doesn't help someone, obviously we do want to get them over to the doctor and we want to get them checked out and maybe get them back over to see us for physical therapy. But that's essentially how we would like to do things is, go and see your doctor, tell them what's wrong. If they want you to do physical therapy, they'll let you know. But if it's just something you have some questions about, just come and ask me questions. Give me a call and love to help you guys out.
Guide them through and get them. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. This was a lot of fun, Danny.
Yeah, I hope to do it again.
Oh, yeah. You are definitely going to have to come back. We'll have you back on the show for sure because I got a lot more questions triggered. Yeah. All right, you guys have a great day. Be sure to like, comment, share, and let us know what you think about the show. Have a great Wednesday. And we'll be back next Wednesday.
Thanks, guys.
So thanks so much.
Thank you.
I think that I talk about homeostasis a lot with my
PeoriaLife.com